for the fight for the future of Jewish life at any university campus around the country. Spoke out with strength and pride. Shabbos is just going to share with us for 2 minutes the importance of Chabad's work at university campus. One of the many things that Chabad at the Shore does is we run Jewish Life at Monmouth University, where there's over 600 Jewish students. And under the leadership of my colleague, Rabbi Yaakov and Rifki Greenberg, who do an amazing job there to inspire hundreds of students to participate in Jewish life. I'm going to ask Shabbos Kestenbaum to share for a few short minutes. I think he's here somewhere. There you are. Okay. Shabbos, the mic is all yours.
3-4 minutes. Sure. Well, hi everyone. Thank you for that introduction. The one thing the rabbi forgot to say is I am in fact single, so if you have Jewish granddaughters, just find me. It's the real reason I do this. I want to say very, very quickly, I only got 4 minutes. I want to tell you a quick story. I was living in the old city of Jerusalem for 2.5 years. I went to Yeshivat Eshet Torah. The second year of studying there, we got word that Rabbi Steinman passed away. Rabbi Steinman was 103 years old when he passed away. He died weighing roughly 70 pounds. There's a machlokes, a disagreement as to what his diet consisted of. Some say he was a boiled potato, others say it was a leaky carroty soup. He was not a man of physical or material means. He was also the chief rabbi of Bnei Brak. And the story goes, there was a wealthy businessman in Bnei Brak, and he thought to himself, given the clients I'm visiting, given the business deals I'm closing, it's not respectful for someone of my stature to be driving the broken down station wagon that I do. I think it's befitting that I drive a respectable car. And his wife is concerned because in Bnei Brak, no one's particularly driving those types of cars. So he says, why don't you go to Rabbi Steinman and ask him, would it be appropriate to buy the car or not? Would it cause jealousy in the community? And the businessman goes to Rabbi Steinman. He says, Rabbi, can I buy the sports car or not? Will it cause jealousy? And Rabbi Steinman looks at him and says, have you ever finished Shas? He says, what? Yes, have you ever finished the entirety of the Babylonian Talmud? And the businessman is very taken aback by that response. And he says, well, no, I haven't. That's 7.5 years. He says, well, okay. You said you're a businessman. Have you ever learned the relevant laws as to how to deal in business ethically? He says, well, I listened to a class here and there, but no, I've never actually learned it. He says, okay. Well, have you ever finished a Masechtas, a tractate of the Talmud? And the businessman says, well, I've been meaning to, but no, not yet. Well, what about a daf of Gemara? No. He says, okay, I have one last question. Have you ever learned a page of Torah in your life? And the businessman looks down, and with a tear in his eye, he looks at Rabbi Steinman and says, no. So Rabbi Steinman looks at him and says, okay, so why don't you go ahead and buy your sports car? Because who would ever be jealous of someone who's never learned a page of Torah in his life? And I got to tell you, very often when I speak, I'm conceived of as someone who fights anti-Semitism, who combats hate, and I have a secret to tell you, I don't do that. And if I do that, I'm doing a very bad job at fighting anti-Semitism because it's not going so great at the moment. What I will tell you is rather than fighting hate, rather than fighting against, what I'd like to think of myself as someone who fights for Jewish values, fights for the Jewish homeland, fights for the Jewish people. When we filed our lawsuit against Harvard University, we actually became the first lawsuit in American history to survive a motion to dismiss pertaining to the civil rights violations of Jewish students on a college campus. We've already been cited in 6 other lawsuits brought by Jewish students across the country. We've already set legal precedents so that if your kids or grandkids make the mistake of going to those institutions, at the very least, they will have their constitutional protections afforded to them. And it's not because we're interested in fighting hate, it's because we're interested in fighting for. And I'll close by saying one last story, and Rabbi, don't kill me, I got 90 seconds. It's no secret, I spoke at the Republican convention, and the morning of my speech, a limo picks me up from my hotel, which is very cool. Please tell your Jewish granddaughters I said that. The limo picked me up. And they take me. I think I'm very funny. And the limo picks me up. We go to the convention arena, and we do what's called a walkthrough. A walkthrough is as boring as it sounds like. The stage manager was a man by the name of Eric. And he says, Mr. Kestenbaum, this is the podium you're going to use. That's the teleprompter to look at. This is what your hair and makeup's going to look like, which was pretty weird for me. And he says, do you have any questions? As you can tell by how I'm dressed, I really don't care about my hair and makeup. I'll tell you this off the record. I didn't care about the teleprompter because the speech I gave and what was on the teleprompter were actually 2 very different things. I ad-libbed a lot, which angered the Trump guys, but it's okay. And I really had no questions. At the end of the 2-hour walkthrough, I said, Eric, I really have no questions. I will see you later tonight. As I turn around to leave, I open the door of the limo. And as I'm opening the door, something in my psyche kind of just stops. And I don't particularly remember why or for what reason. But I turn back around and I say, Eric, I take it back. I actually have one question. Can you promise me when I give this speech later tonight in front of 40,000 people in the arena, in front of President Trump, in front of millions of Americans who are watching on TV, can you promise me when I give that speech, the camera that's televising my speech live will be able to clearly see that I'm wearing a kippah? It is the only question I asked, because I have two friends at Harvard who in response to October 7th have taken off their kippahs. And I have a list in my phone of hundreds of Jewish students across North America who've taken off their kippahs, tucked in their Star of David necklace, ceased their involvement with Jewish life on campus. And I must say, I was meant to be in LA. I changed my flight to be here. If you want to help me, and if you want to help the thousands of young American Jews across college campuses who in response to October 7th have put on a bigger kippah, have tucked out their Star of David necklace, at Harvard Chabad we have so many people we had to clear out the top floor because we can't fit everyone. If you want to help those students, and if you want to help me, I am urging you, show us young Jews that there is a future for the Jewish people, there is a future for the Jewish state, and there is a future for American Jewry. There is no organization, not only in the Jewish world, but on planet Earth, that does what Chabad does, bar none. It's not even close. If you want to combat anti-Semitism, if you want to help young American Jews, I'm telling you, as someone who studied the Holocaust at Harvard, we don't need more Holocaust museums. We don't need more combating anti-Semitism dinners. We need Chabad to be fully funded and operating on as many campuses, in as many cities, in as many countries, in as many locales as possible. So please, please join me in supporting Chabad, and if you do that, you will be a living, breathing testament to the power and to the promise that Am Yisrael Chai, that not only the Jewish people live, the Jewish people will always live now and forever.